On March 27, 2011, the Brooks family was finally happy. Sherry, the matriarch of the family, had come up with a perfect plan to kill intellectually disabled Vera Jo Reigle. Yeah, you heard it right. It wasn't a one-person job. The entire family had participated in the murder. Sherry's son and Vera's boyfriend, Zachary Brooks, hit Vera so much that every bone on her face was broken. Sherry's other son, Chucky, who was just 14 years old, made Vera eat dog poop. Daniel Bixler, who was the son of Sherry's cousin, shoved the knife into her crotch. Daniel's girlfriend, Nicole, kept asking Sherry if she could kill Vera right there, but Sherry had a different plan. She wanted Vera to turn into hamburger meat. She was thrown on the tracks with stab wounds throughout her body. Nicole and Daniel left her there to go to a party. They heard the train approaching, but it suddenly stopped. They assumed it was an engine problem, but in fact, the train conductor had found a dead body. It didn't take long for the authorities to reach the doorstep of the Brooks house to investigate Vera's death.
Trying to think, they made her drink dish soap, I think it was, or laundry soap, or I wasn't in the kitchen or anything. It was some kind of soap, and she kept saying her throat was burning her, and.
All right, Shannon. Sorry it took so long.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Out and about, so just wanted to review things here.
Shannon, I'm Scott. Okay.
Okay.
You know Kurt.
Yeah.
So we've just got the time stuff documented here. And I have 127.
Shannon, what's your middle initial?
D.
D.
Mhm.
Okay. I believe anything changed, address or anything
Mm-mm.
from when I talked with you on Sunday?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Phone number same, 567-525.
Mhm.
Okay, so what brings you up here today?
Well, I had gotten some information that that I was getting arrested
Okay.
because I guess the interview I did on TV, Channel 11 News, and I'm getting told by a lot of different people that I'm the one that's going to end up going to jail for it. And I mean, I came up here, to tell everybody because I'm getting harassed on Facebook, and I'm getting called, a killer. I'm getting told that I had a part in it. I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know what they were going to do when they left the house with her. And as I told everybody else, I wanted to stop them, but Danny put a knife to me and told me if I did anything that he was going to kill me. I didn't believe him at the time because I didn't think he would do it. And, and when they got back and they told me everything they did, I wanted to call the cops. I wanted to get the phone and call so bad. But Danny told me if I picked up that phone that he would do the same thing to me. And I was just so scared. And as you can tell, you can probably tell I'm scared right now. I was crying all day today because and then I got people telling me that I should be the next one to die and everything else. And I'm getting so scared and everything, and I've never been in trouble with the cops in my, you can look at my record, I've never been in trouble at all.
Okay.
And this is scary, it's really scary, and I don't know what else I can do to help you guys. I've been trying to go over in my head everything they told me and everything that happened that day, and I thought of a couple more things that, if that would help you out at all.
Okay.
Of what happened. I don't know if, maybe Sherry told you guys or not. But they took a belt. I told you about the belt part, right?
You mentioned about.
Yes, and they had it was a piece to a bike, like it goes on the bike neck where the handlebars are.
Okay.
And it had bolts on it, and they put that around the belt, and they slammed it, and they hit her in the back with it, and they continuously kept hitting her like that, and Danny was stomping on her head, and I got scared, and then I sat on the bed next to Sherry, and I couldn't breathe. I was getting really scared. I was having a panic attack or something, and I was shaking real bad. And then Danny and Nicole made them drink their pee. They made her drink that and eat dog poop off of the floor. And they made her use a toothbrush up her behind, and they made her brush her teeth with it afterwards.
Okay.
Just everything. I mean, trying to think. They made her drink dish soap, I think it was, or laundry soap, or I wasn't in the kitchen or anything. It was some kind of soap, and she kept saying her throat was burning her, and they had I think it's called mace or pepper spray or something, and they sprayed it in her face, and her face was burning, her eye was swollen shut and stuff, and they hit her in the face real hard and made her lips swell up really bad. And it was just, I didn't know what to do. I mean, you know, I was so scared. I've never seen anybody do that to someone before, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, I sat on the couch, you know, thinking somebody else would, you know, pick up the phone and, you know, call the cops or something, and I just think that everybody in the house was scared because no one's ever seen Danny like that before. And I mean, that was the first time I ever met him. I didn't know him before then. And I mean, he had just gotten out of prison and no one would tell me why. And, you know, it's just, I got really scared and stuff. And my husband, you know, when he found out that Danny had held a knife to my left side of my neck, my husband, you know, he was trying to protect me and stuff. So, you know, he got in between me and Danny and told Danny, you know, to stop because he was going to end up hurting someone really bad. And I guess I'm just like really scared. I don't know. I'm really worried. I can't sleep at night now because I'm just worried that, you know, something's going to happen. I'm nervous, I guess.
So you just met Danny
Yeah.
on Saturday?
No,
When did you meet him?
when he first showed up, which I don't know what day it was, I had just got home from my aunt's house. It was last week, so I think it was Monday of last week that he got there. And that was like, I didn't meet him till Tuesday because he got there at like midnight or something, and I was asleep. So I met him on Tuesday, and that was like the first time I've ever met him, and no one told me anything about him. So.
Yeah, and that's some information, you know, there was some more there than what you had told me the other day.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we need to go over, you know, Saturday's events again. I think that's a good idea. We'll start going over the events
If I can
again.
remember, I took my medicine earlier. I got issues with my head and stuff from an accident 4 years ago. So I
Okay.
take medicine, and it kind of makes my memories and stuff a little. But I can try to.
I mean, you right now you feel okay though. I mean, you know what day it is today?
I know it's Tuesday, I think.
Tuesday.
Right? Yeah,
You know what
Tuesday.
date it is?
Yeah, it's the 29th. I
Okay.
think. Yeah.
I mean, you right now you're feeling okay.
Yeah, I mean,
mean, you can
As
talk
far
and
as going
everything.
back to Saturday, I mean, I could try to. I'm not, when I told you on Sunday I hadn't taken my medicine, so I had good memories. But I mean, I can try to. I mean,
Okay.
so
Okay. Well, let's do that. Let's start with Saturday.
Okay.
I mean, I know in the morning you got up and you went to the food
food giveaway, yeah, food
giveaway, whatever
pantry,
they call
yeah.
it. Yeah. I'm not trying to remember what time it was. I don't remember offhand now.
It was
I know it was early in the
5:30.
morning.
5:30 in the morning. Yeah, we got
Okay.
there.
And who'd you go with? I know
My
Kevin went.
husband, Michael, Kevin, and Scotty.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You remember around what time you guys got home?
10:30, 11, somewhere around there.
Who all was at the house when you got home?
Sherry, Garth, Zachary, Chucky, Danny, and Nicole. And then, of course, me, Michael, Kevin, and Scotty when we got home. So, and the baby was there.
Okay. Vera, did you say Vera?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Vera too. Sorry,
Sorry, just wanted to make sure. What was everybody doing?
sleeping. They were all sleeping when we got home. Chucky woke up right when we got home. So then Chucky was up, and Vera was still asleep. Sherry was kind of dozing off after she took her medicine. So, but the boys were still asleep.
So Sherry was sleeping in her room,
Right.
in the bed.
Mhm.
Where was Vera at?
She was in her room on the bed.
There. Okay.
Mhm.
Where did Vera sleep then?
There's a room off of the living room. It's got yellow walls, and that was her room in there. She had her bed and dresser and stuff.
And that, so she wasn't in there though. She was in Sherry's room.
No, she was in her
She
room.
was in her
Yeah,
room.
she was in
Okay,
her
I'm
own
sorry.
room. Yeah.
Okay. So go on from there. What'd you do after that when you got home?
After I got home, I went upstairs. Or no. I'm trying to think. I went and changed the baby because she was quiet and she had just woken up. And by then, Sherry had woken up. So I went in and changed her and I got her dressed. And we fed her. And then Danny and Nicole had come downstairs. I had given the baby a bath after she was done eating. I think I messed that part up. Yeah, after she was done eating, then I gave her a bath and got her dressed. Yeah. And then Danny and Nicole were sitting on the couch watching TV. Then Vera had gotten up to change Sherry's on the pads on her feet.
Okay.
Trying to think. Vera said something or did something that she shouldn't have did, I guess. I'm not sure. And, sorry, she looked at Danny for something, for some reason. And Nicole got mad and she, punched her in the back of the head, made her go forward. And then Danny kicked her in her side from the back. And then
You actually saw this? You heard that
yeah.
stuff?
I went in and I said, you guys need to stop, you're gonna hurt her. And even Sherry said it. And by that time, all the boys were awake and everybody was awake in the house, just mostly sitting on the couches, watching TV. And then Kevin and Michael, had left to go they left to go somewhere. Can't remember where. And then Vera, she got up to go to the bathroom, and I looked over and I seen Nicole follow her into the bathroom, and I was sitting on the couch watching the baby, so she wouldn't like go in and step on mom's feet or anything. So I was sitting in the living room watching her play and stuff. And I heard Nicole in there yelling at Vera in the bathroom. And Vera was like crying or saying something. And then Nicole comes back out and she's laughing and smiling, and she's got her hand like this on her face. And then I asked her what happened, and she says, "You don't want to know." And I said, "Okay." And then Vera comes out, and her hair's all wet, and she's covering her face like this, like her eyes are hurting her. And when Nicole was, out of the room, I asked Vera what happened, and Vera said that that Nicole had put her head in the toilet and made her drink the water. And then that's also when they made her use the toothbrush up her behind and brush her teeth with it. So she was kind of gagging and stuff when she came out, and she got a drink. And then Danny I think it was Danny, took the ketchup and poured it on her head. And I went in the kitchen. I said, "Okay, that's enough. You guys need to stop now." And I told Vera to go back in Sherry's room after she had gotten the ketchup out of her hair. And I told her, just go in there and sit down, just don't do anything, just don't make them mad. And then Danny looked at me and said, "Why are you protecting her?" And I said, "Because you guys are going far enough, you guys need to stop this, you're hurting her." So she went back in there and sat down. And then after Michael and Kevin had gotten home, I had went upstairs for I went upstairs for something. Then I came back downstairs, and I heard like a noise or like something coming from Sherry's room. And Sherry looks over at me and says, "You need to come in here." And I said, "Okay." Then that's when they were hitting her with the belt with the little bike part on it. And I went up to Danny and I grabbed it, or I didn't grab him because I was afraid to. I went up and I tapped him on the shoulder and I said, "You need to stop right now." And they lifted up her shirt, and her back was black. I mean, it was black and blue and purple and yellow, and it was horrible, and red. And then she kept holding her head like this, and she had her head down, and I thought, her head was bleeding or something. And so then that's when Danny put the knife to my neck and told me, he told me if I didn't hit her that he was going to kill me. So I took the thing off, and I hit her once, and it was only not even hard, it was kind of soft. I was really scared. So then he kept going closer, and he's like, "Do it again." And I was like, "No." And I threw the belt, and then Nicole grabbed it, and then I ran out of the room because my husband had gotten back after they had went to get trash bags. And then I had went to him, and one of the boys, I think it was Chucky, the youngest one, had told Michael what Danny did. And then Michael had gotten mad, and I told him just to calm down and sit down. So I sat down on the couch with him. And then finally, they left her alone for a while. And the boys were wrestling around in the living room or something. And I was sitting on the couch because someone had sprayed something upstairs, and it was coming down, and I ended up going to the hospital because of it. And then after I got home, I went upstairs. Danny and Nicole were upstairs when I got home on the bed they were sleeping on. And all I said to them when I walked up was, I lost my baby. And Danny looks at me with like this stern look on his face. And he said, that's it. I'm going to kill her. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think that he would actually do it. And I laughed and I was like, yeah, right. And I walked in my room. I laid down for a little bit. Well, I went back downstairs and Vera was getting her shoes on. This was around 9:30. Yeah, it was around 9:30. And I walked down and I asked Vera, I was like, where are you going? And she said, well, Danny and Nicole want me to go with them somewhere. I was like, okay. And I had asked her again, I was like, where are you guys going? And she told me, well, I'm going to meet up with my boyfriend. I don't want to walk alone. I said, oh, okay, which her boyfriend at the time was Larry Spence. So we figured, okay, she's going to meet up with Larry, and then, she'll probably go with him for a little bit. So they left. Then about a half hour later, they came back around 10:05 or 10:15. And they walk in, and I was in the kitchen getting the baby a bottle because she was almost asleep. So I was going to give her a bottle and lay her down. And then Nicole walks in, and she looked at me and she was shaking, and she was like, she's gone. She's gone. She kept saying she's gone. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I was scared. I was like, oh my God, please tell me you didn't do anything. And she's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I was like, and I stopped. Like, I couldn't talk or anything. I was like, oh my God. And I ran into Sherry's room after handing the baby the bottle. And I went to grab the phone, and Danny's like, if you call the police, I'll kill you just like I did her. And I'm like, he took the phone from me, and I just stood there, and I walked over to Sherry, and I was like, there's no way. And then, I was just like, I was in total shock. I couldn't believe what they had just said. And then Michael had made me something to eat, and we had went upstairs, and I was in my room, and then Danny and Zachary and Garth had left, and they went over to Danny's sister's Desta's house and to get drunk, I guess. I'm not sure about that story. And then it was around 1 o'clock in the morning, they came home, or it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock, they came home, and they come barging in our room, and, they're all three drunk and stuff, and I asked Danny, I was like, why'd you do it? And he's like, because I wanted to. And I was like, well, that's not a good enough reason. You shouldn't have did that. That was wrong. I mean, she didn't deserve that. And all he did was look at me, smile, and say, yes, she did. And that's all he said to me. And then he walked out. Nicole had passed out on the bed, and I laid back down, and I had my TV off, and I was trying to listen, see what they were saying. Well, Danny's sister was downstairs waiting on him, I guess, to go to her house or something. And so Danny had told Nicole, I'm taking your phone, and I'm going to my sister's. Nicole, she didn't say anything, so I was guessing she passed out. And so then Danny left, and then we all pretty much just went to bed. I mean, well, Michael had gone downstairs because Zachary and Garth, they were drunk and they were puking and stuff, so he helped my mother-in-law take care of them. And then he went to bed around 5, and I finally fell asleep around 3. So that's pretty much everything.
notes while you're talking. Do you remember back when they were, when this assaulting and that started, that was in Sherry's bedroom?
Yeah, most of it was in her room, and then some of it also was in the living room, and I was the only one in the living room. The boys at the time were gone. They were out with their friends or something, and they had her on the ground, and they had her by her hair, and they were just hitting her head on the floor and kicking her and punching her, and they had grabbed something from outside and they were hitting her with that. It looked like a crescent wrench or something. They were hitting her in the back with that and the side and stuff, and Danny would stomp. I mean, he would jump on her head, like he would jump up in the air and then down on her head, and he would kick her, and I was so disgusted by it, but every time I tried to, stand up and do something, Danny would push me out of the way and tell me no, and I mean, it's just, I wanted to stop him, and I mean, it won't get out of my head, it won't leave, and yeah.
This information that you've said today, you didn't tell it to me on Sunday when we talked.
Right. When we talked on Sunday, I was scared, and I couldn't remember everything. I was having a blank in my head, and I think it was because I was nervous and I was scared. And then, I told my husband, I was like, I gotta tell them the rest of the stuff that I know. I don't want to withhold information because I don't want to get in trouble for that. And I said, you gotta take me up there. I gotta tell them the rest of the stuff, and it hit me this morning that, I was like, I was just sitting in my room and I was thinking, I was like, she didn't deserve this. I gotta, I gotta say what else happened. And I mean, when I get nervous and scared, I draw a blank and I only remember certain things, and that's why I left out some stuff on Sunday. But I wanted to come in today and tell you the rest of the stuff that happened.
Okay.
So
Sunday when you were in here and talking to me, what did we discuss while you were there talking to me? What did we were investigating?
Vera's missing, or
Vera, yeah.
Yeah.
Vera was missing. Right. You knew that she was missing, but you knew something else had happened to her. Okay. What did they tell you happened?
Am I allowed to say what they told me?
Absolutely. When you're allowed to. That's what I want you to tell me what you know. I mean,
right.
Shannon, that's why we're sitting here.
Yeah. But what they told me.
Who told you?
Yeah, and who? Specific.
Danny and Nicole had told me that they had slit her throat all the way around, all the way around, and that they had stabbed her under her left breast, and that they had stabbed her in the heart, and they had took the knife and they put it up her behind, and they had twisted, and that they stuck it up her, and they also did the same thing. And
who was actually saying that though? Which one of them was telling you?
Nicole told me that. She was the one mainly telling me everything. Danny was just saying, yeah.
Okay. And when was that?
It was right before they had left to go to Danny's sister's house.
Okay. Remember around what time that was?
Well, they got home around 10:05, 10:15, so They left around 11. I'd say probably around 10:45 maybe, somewhere around there. And they told me that they wanted to make sure that she wasn't alive. So they put her on the railroad tracks and they laid her across them to make sure that a train had hit her. And I got scared. And I started crying. I didn't know what to believe. I didn't even know if it was true or if they were lying or if it was a joke or something.
What time is this? Sorry.
That's right. Go ahead.
What time is this again?
Around 10:45.
And how long had Vera been gone?
Almost an hour.
And Vera had left with them and not come back.
Right.
Correct.
When they came home, they hadn't said anything right at that point, and we thought that she had went with her boyfriend Larry, because she usually she'll go and meet with him and just hang out for like an hour or something, and we thought that she had went with him to hang out or went to her mom's or something, but then when they came in and told me, I was just like, I said, no, it's not true, and then 8 o'clock, you guys show up, and I was like, oh my god. And I got really scared.
Who else was in the room when they told you?
No one, it was just me
Where were we at?
in the kitchen. I was getting a bottle for the baby.
And nobody else was around.
Yeah, the boys were upstairs, and Michael was in Sherry's bedroom. Kevin was in the living room rolling cigarettes, I think. And the rest of the boys were upstairs with their friends. And I was in the kitchen getting a bottle for the baby. I was the only one in the kitchen, and then that's when Nicole came in and told me what they did.
How long after you got back from the hospital before they left in Vera?
I got home at 8 o'clock, so it was about an hour and a half before they left with her. It was around 9:30 that they left.
And who all knew that you had had a miscarriage?
Everybody in the house. When I came home, I went straight upstairs, and then I came downstairs after Danny had told me that's it, she's dead, and I walked downstairs, and then I told Sherry, and I told the rest of them, and I didn't think anything would really happen, I guess. He didn't seem like that kind of person. I mean, to my point, he didn't seem like that kind of guy to me.
Even though you'd seen him beating her?
Yeah.
He didn't seem like that kind of guy?
I was really confused, and I was like, it's been like really hard for me because I seen my mom go through the same thing. She was beaten and abused, and I've been through it. But I guess I never look at a guy who beats a person as someone who could really kill someone. It's never really clicked in my mind, and then that night it really did hit me. I realized that it's possible, and I just.
How did Zachary react when he found out that you had lost the baby?
Zachary, he gave me a hug and said that he was sorry, and that he wishes that I didn't. And he was calm. I mean, he wasn't like, mad or crazy or anything. He was just upset.
Let's back up to the spray. Who sprayed?
I don't know. No, it's somebody who was upstairs.
Was Vera upstairs?
She was upstairs, and I wasn't upstairs. I was sitting on the couch as closest to the upstairs door, and we don't know, or we're not sure if she sprayed it because she just wanted to see what it was. I don't know, and then
She got blamed for it though, correct?
yeah, they blamed her for it. Nicole and Danny did. None of us did. We thought, maybe one of the boys had done it or something, and just like, I don't know. But then when I got the smell of it, that's what caused me to go to the hospital.
So you're telling me that Danny threatened to kill her, and then Danny and Nicole leave with her, and it doesn't register to you what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
After they beat her repeatedly all day long.
It didn't click in my head until they left. And
What happened on the day prior, on Friday? What did you see Danny and Nicole do to her on Friday?
they didn't do anything on Friday. They just, I don't know what the difference was between Saturday or Friday, but Friday was like, they were gone most of the day. They were walking to see his sister at Wendy's, and them and the boys, they went for a walk, and they were gone most of Friday. And then Saturday, it's like, I don't know what changed. Something did, and it scared me.
So you decided to come in here on Sunday and not be forthcoming with the information that you had.
I couldn't remember everything at the time. I was.
Shannon, let's stop that, okay? I don't believe you, okay? I would believe more that you were scared than I would believe that you don't remember. Because your memory right now is pretty damn good, 3 days later.
When we're sitting in the room and I'm telling you, we're here, Vera's missing, we want to make sure she's okay, nothing's happened with her, and you got all this information. You can't tell me that you didn't remember that on Sunday. Can you honestly sit here and tell me that on Sunday you didn't remember this stuff?
You sat across the table, you knew she was dead. You and everybody else in that house knew she was dead. Is that true?
No. Everybody had their suspicions about it.
In the limited time that we have been inside that house, I don't believe for a second that everybody in that house didn't know that Vera was dead. I don't believe it. You're in here because you believe you're in trouble. It's time to start getting yourself out of that hole. And that means telling us the truth about everything, okay? It's time for damage control, okay? What we need to know, and we've been kind of getting there slowly but surely with you, and I think you're trying to be honest with you. I think you're scared.
I am. I'm really scared.
We can appreciate that, okay? But sugarcoating it, trying to protect other people, is not going to help you, okay? It's not going to help anybody else either, because we already know a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And for you to come in here to lie is only going to make it worse on you and everybody else involved. Okay? I mean, obviously, you know Vera is dead. Vera was murdered. Okay? And whether you want to accept it or not, you're a part of it. Were you holding the blade? Did you do what was done to her? Certainly not. Okay? But you have kept information from us during the course of this investigation. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So let's try and fix this as best we can. Okay? And we need you to be honest about everything that happened. Everything. Okay? So let's start back over. Can we do that?
Mm-hmm.
You willing to do that, Liz? Let's go back to I mean, should we go back as far as when he moved into the house, you think?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. That would have been about,
We
you say that about a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start there. Well, we could start before that. I mean, really, what was happening, you know, with Vera, okay? You said that when I talked with you on Sunday, one of the things you said was some of this, the stuff that was happening, Vera being beat up, that this didn't happen until Danny and Nicole moved in.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that was about a week ago. But we know, okay, from other police reports and everything, that that's not true,
Right.
okay? So let's start a little bit deeper in this and let's get the information on what's going on. Because it is quite obvious that it wasn't just Danny and Nicole,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Do you want me to start where I moved in or when?
When was that?
I moved in with them in October of last year.
Were you and Mike married at that time?
We got married October 4th. Yeah,
How long had you and Mike been together?
3 months. Before I moved in with them, I had stayed with them a couple of times. I mean, obviously, you know, I didn't know anything at that time what was going on. When I moved in with them in October, the first maybe 2 or 3 weeks, everything was fine. And then Vera started, you know, she was getting smacked and stuff because she tried to hurt the baby, I guess. The baby was walking around the table and she had pushed the baby and the baby had fell and hit her head on the corner of the coffee table and knocked the breath out of her and she couldn't breathe or anything. And so she ended up getting hit for that.
By who?
Zachary did.
Okay.
And then
Can I stop? Did you actually see that yourself, or is this something that you were told?
something I was told, I didn't
Okay.
see it.
Did you see the results of her being hit?
She had a black and blue eye, yeah,
Okay.
she had a black eye. And then, you know, after that, everything had settled down for a while. And then, if she was doing Sherry's feet, like if she was wrapping them or something and she would hurt her, then she would get smacked in the head by Zachary, I think it was. And then, or if she was around the baby, then she would get yelled at, but she wouldn't get hit. She would just get yelled at because they didn't want her around the baby because they think that she tried to kill the baby. And then for the next, let's say, until after Christmas, everything was good until after then because she was in her room, I guess, and they have a memorial table in her room for their son Punky or Kevin Jr. And some stuff came up missing off of it and they blamed her for it. And Zachary had hit her and said that if he had taken anything, or if she had taken anything off the table again, then, you know, he was gonna smack her again or something. And so she started listening after that, and then in January, she had gotten I think that was the time that she had a broken nose, and the cops were called, and she had to go to the hospital. And that was from getting hit like this, and then like this in the front by the first time that she got hit in the nose, it was by Larry Spence, I think it is. He hit her once in the nose, and then Zachary had hit her again because she was trying to pick up the baby or something. And then after that, it was okay. And then trying to think if it was February or the end of January. She had went, it was after Scotty had gotten home from prison, and she became his sex partner, or whatever you call them, and she had been upstairs with him in his room. She was coming down the stairs, and I was told that she fell. I don't know if she fell or she was pushed down the stairs. I was told she fell. And then around, it was the middle of February, she was wrapping Sherry's feet, and she had hurt her to the point where she ended up having to go to the hospital, I think. And Zachary had hit her 3-4 times. Once in the face, twice in the face, and then once in the side, I think. And then this month, Zachary hadn't hit her until after Danny and Nicole had showed up. So from the time I've been there till now, that's all I've really seen, other than what I've been told by them. And
So who out of all that stuff you just told us, some of it you actually saw, some of it you didn't actually see, correct?
Right.
Who have you actually seen hurt, hit, however you want to say it, assault Vera? You've actually seen, not what you've heard, what you have seen yourself.
I seen Larry do it once, which was the nose, because she wouldn't listen to him or something. And then I seen Zachary the rest of the times, other than what I was told. And what I was told, they wouldn't tell me who did it. So I don't know who did those or.
Time, Larry, you said when the police were there, you said Larry and Zach had done that.
Right, Larry had hit her like this in here, and Zachary had went up like that.
Did you see Zachary do that?
I seen Zachary and I seen Larry both do that.
Let's go back to Saturday morning again.
Okay.
Well, let's go back to Friday. We've heard some things that happened on Friday as well.
Okay.
Possibly with Danny and a knife. That she may have been stabbed in the left leg.
Yeah. I didn't see it happen. I was actually upstairs when that one happened. But I was told that it was Danny that did it, that he had stabbed her in the leg because she had said something like Nicole was her girlfriend or something. Because I guess Vera wanted to be, a lesbian or something. And she had said something about Nicole was her girlfriend and Danny didn't like it. And I guess that he took the knife, which is the green handled knife, and he had stabbed her in I think it was her thigh. I think it was that part right there, the top part of the leg. But I didn't see it happen. I was told about it.
You told me.
Zachary had told me.
Do you remember what day that was?
He told me it was Friday night that he told me, and he said it was Friday morning happened, I think.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth when it happened. I had heard
Right.
possibly something happened on Friday.
Yeah, he told me it was Friday morning that it happened, but I was sick. I was sick most of the day. I mean, I was downstairs some of the day on Friday, but I was sick most of the day. So I was upstairs laying down and stuff. And then when I came down to use the restroom and take a shower at night, Zachary had told me what happened, and then Vera showed me her leg. And the wound was like that big, and it was like maybe that deep.
So you go to bed Friday night,
Mhm.
you get up Saturday morning. You said it was real early, right?
Yeah, I got up at 5 to go to the food giveaway at 5:30.
Then you were gone for a few hours.
I was gone till about 10:30 or 11. It was between 10:30 and 11 when we got home.
And everybody's sleeping, but you wake, Chucky wakes up.
Right.
And start walking us through the day. Okay.
Okay. After we got home, Chucky had woken up, and then everybody was still asleep. Sherry was dozing off from her medicine. She was half awake, half asleep. And then I had gotten the baby, and I had gotten her out of her playpen thingy, and I had changed her diaper, and then I had put her in the high chair, and I gave her breakfast, and then Danny and Nicole had come downstairs, and they had woken Zach up by stomping down the stairs, and because Zach sleeps on the couch downstairs. So after Zachary woke up, he was like laying on the couch watching TV. I had went in and gave the baby a bath, and then I had gotten her dressed, and I put her down so she could go play. And then I had went upstairs to get something. I think it was my phone I went to get, and then I came back downstairs, and then that's when I seen Sherry was awake. She was sitting up. Vera was in front of her, wrapping her feet, and then that's when she looked at Danny, because she had his eyes that just look around. She's one of them girls that just look around, and she looked over at Danny and looked away. And then I seen Nicole put her fist up like this, and then she went like this to her head. Well, it was in the back of her head. She made her go like this, and she made her go forward. And then Danny came up and kicked her in her back on her left side in the back. And then after she was done doing that, she had gotten up and went into the bathroom. And then that's when Nicole had followed her into the bathroom and had put her head in the toilet and made her, I guess, drink the water. And then when she was done, Nicole had told Vera to use a toothbrush up her behind and then use it to brush her teeth. And then after she was done with that, then that's when Nicole had came out and told me what she had just told Vera to do. And then when Vera was done, she was holding her face, Nicole after she had told me what she was doing, she started laughing and stuff. And I guess they thought it was funny. And then Vera had came out and she started gagging and stuff because she said it tasted nasty. She said that she felt sick. And then they had made her go in the kitchen and drink, I think it was the dish soap that they had sitting on the counter. And at that point, that's when I got up and I told them, you guys need to stop. You're going to end up hurting her. You're going to end up killing her. You guys need to stop. And then Danny and Nicole had they just laughed at me. And then Danny had taken the ketchup and poured it on her head. And he called her a pig or something. And that's when Vera started to cry and said, "Stop it." And then I went in the kitchen and I told Vera, go wash your hair. Go wash the stuff out of your hair and go sit in there in Mama's room. And so when she was done washing her hair, she went in there and sat in this little corner between the TV and the dresser. And she sat right there. And then Danny and Nicole, they were sitting in the living room they were sitting on the couch. But then Danny had gotten up to go in and talk to Sherry, which she was half asleep and half awake still. So she was laying there and she was talking to Danny. And I had went in there and then that's when I seen Danny pick up the belt. And at first he was just hitting her with the belt, just the regular belt. And I stared at him and I didn't know what to do. And then afterwards I seen Nicole grab this black piece for the handlebars of the bike. And they wrapped it around the belt part, the loop area. And they put it around there and they took the belt and they were hitting her repeatedly over and over and over again. And I tried to get in front of Danny to stop him, and he pushed me back and I fell onto the bed, and he told me, "Don't get in my way or I'll hit you too." And so I started shaking and everything, and then he handed me the belt and he had told me, he's like, "I want you to hit her right now." And then he put the knife to my neck and he told me, "You're gonna do it or I'll kill you." And I got scared and I told him, I was like, "You take that off there. I'm not hitting her with that." So he took that off and I took the belt and I didn't really hit her. It kind of smacked or tapped her on the back. And he told me to do it again and I said, "No, I'm not doing it." And he kept the knife there and the boys came in and said, "Danny, you need to stop this before you end up killing her and Vera." And then Danny's like, "Whatever."
What boys came in?
It was Garth and Chucky, the two younger ones, came in. And they had both said, "You need to stop before you kill them both." And so Danny put the knife away and I threw the belt on the floor and I ran in to my husband and I I just grabbed him. I was scared. I was really scared. So I went back into Sherry's room afterwards. And at that point, I was shaking real bad from like a panic attack or something. And I couldn't breathe or anything. And Sherry was trying to calm me down and stuff. And then, you know, Vera was sitting on the floor and she was like she had her hands like this and her knees up to her chest. And I asked her if she was okay, and she just shook her head and she goes like this. And I looked at Sherry and I was like, she's not okay. And then, you know, I was getting ready to pick up the phone to call for an ambulance or something. And then Danny came in and told me, who you calling? And I told him, I was like, I'm gonna call to get her an ambulance because she needs help. And he said, no, you're not, because then the cops will show up here and I'm not going to jail. And I told him, I was like, well, I need to, she needs help. And so he took the phone from me, and I don't have minutes on my phone, and no one else was home that had a phone. Him and Michael had left to get trash bags or something, and no one else had a phone that I could use. And so then I just sat there, and Nicole had sat there right in front of Vera, and she took Vera's head, and she had handfuls of hair, and she just grabbed her head and she kept pounding it on the floor. And I kicked Nicole and I told her, you need to effing stop right now. And Nicole said no, and then Nicole just started screaming something. She said something, and Vera started crying and stuff, and she kept saying, okay, I'm sorry. And then Danny came in, and then that's when Danny started stomping on her head and kicking her and jumping on her head and punching her and everything. And I was in disbelief, and then my heart was racing so fast, and so when they got home, Kevin told them, stop what you guys are doing, and they listened to him. They stopped, and they went in the living room and sat down, and then I guess they were gonna walk to Wendy's or something to meet up with his sister Desta. And so him, Nicole, Zachary, and Garth, I think, was walking, and then Zachary ends up calling Kevin and says that there's a fight or something down the street. So Kevin and Michael and Scotty and Chucky ran down there to help them, and they came back about a half hour later. And at that point, Vera was sitting in Sherry's room watching TV, not doing anything, just minding her own business. And I was sitting in the living room watching the baby. And then they all show back up, and Danny is he's like got an adrenaline rush or something. And then, he's like all hyper and stuff. And so Nicole makes them sit down and everything. And then around 5:30, 6 o'clock, Vera had just finished wrapping Sherry's feet. And then Nicole had told Vera to go in the bathroom and take a cold bath. So they made her go in there and take a cold bath and wash up and everything. And she came out and she was shivering and stuff. And then at that point, that's when Danny and Nicole had taken her outside, I think in the garage or something. And they had taken the mace with them, or pepper spray, or whatever it's called. And they sprayed it in her face. and it was like on her left side of her face and under her neck and stuff, and she couldn't open her eyes or anything. So I told her to go in and wash her face with cold water, and I told her, just put a wash rag on your eye, maybe that'll help, I don't know. So then she did that, and when she came back out, she went in and sat in Sherry's room, and then everything kind of calmed down for a little while. And then that's when I ended up having to go to the hospital around 6. It was around 6:30 I went to the hospital. And then I got home around, it was at 8:15, and I had went upstairs, and then at that point, that's when Danny and Nicole were upstairs, and I had walked by them, and they asked what happened, and I had told them, and then that's when Danny had said, she's dead. And I went in my room because I had taken medicine at the hospital, and I was tired and I wasn't thinking straight, so I just kind of, I didn't think anything of it. And then I went in and laid down for a little bit, but then I went back downstairs about 9:15. I went downstairs, and that's when I seen Vera getting her shoes on, and she said that she was gonna meet up with her boyfriend, Larry. And then that's when Danny and Nicole said, well, we'll walk with you. And she, at that point, Vera had asked Scotty if he would walk with her, because I think she knew something was gonna happen. And so, but Danny had ran upstairs and told Scotty, no, you're not going with us. And if you do, then I'll hurt you too. Or I'll hurt you or something. That's what Scotty told me. And then they had walked out around 9:35. And then I had went upstairs and laid down for about 10-15 minutes, and then I needed to go to the bathroom, so I went back downstairs, and it was around almost 10 o'clock, and I was in the kitchen. Everybody else was upstairs besides Kevin and Sherry, and Michael was on the computer, I think. And I went in the kitchen to get a bottle for the baby, and then we seen I heard Danny and Nicole come in the house. Nicole comes in the kitchen as I'm getting a bottle, and she looks at me, and her face is all red, and she just looks at me, she's panting real heavy, and she says, it's done. And she's gone, and I'm like, what? And I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And then Danny just kept saying, yep, and that's all he would say, and then that's when they told me all the details. And I was in complete shock, and I went in to grab the phone, and Danny had got to it first, and he had called somebody. I don't know if he called his sister, or I don't know who he called. And
Whose phone?
the house phone, I think. Yeah, I think it was the house phone he grabbed. And then I handed the baby the bottle, and I had went upstairs, or no, I had went into Sherry's room, and I was like, it can't be true. And she's like, what? And I was like, all I kept saying was, I don't know. And I was in complete shock. And I don't know if Nicole had told Sherry what she had told me. I haven't been told by anybody else, I know they had told Scotty. So I'm pretty sure they told Scotty too. but I'm not sure if they told anybody else in the house. And then after I was done in Sherry's room, I had went upstairs to lay down, and then Danny, Nicole, Zach, and Garth had went to his sister's house to drink, and they came home around 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then finally everything settled down. Nicole passed out, and then that's when Danny had told Nicole, "I'm taking your phone," and he went to his sister's, and then I fell asleep around 3 o'clock.
What's the phone, house phone number?
567-525-5159.
Is it the same number you gave us earlier? Or do you have a different?
I don't think I understand.
Okay, so that 2094 is your personal
Yeah.
cell?
I don't have minutes on it though until the first.
567-525-5159, is that like a phone, a standard phone, or is that a cell phone?
It's a standard house phone.
Okay,
What was it, 5159?
5159.
Okay.
That's exactly. You mentioned that you thought or you knew that Scotty knew what had happened.
I'm not sure if he does. I mean, they had went upstairs and they were talking to him, so I'm guessing that maybe they told him what they told me. I mean, he hasn't said anything to anybody that he does know, but I'm guessing that they told him what they told me.
Where was Zach and Garth when they came home?
Zach, when Danny and Nicole came home, or
After they left here?
Zach and Garth were upstairs in Garth's room, I think, and Scotty was in his room.
Where's Kevin?
Kevin was downstairs rolling cigarettes,
Which room?
the living room, and Sherry was in her room.
You want to smoke or anything?
Sure.
Marble light, okay?
Cool.
You know, we talked earlier about you're in a little bit of trouble, right? Okay, we understand. We're trying to be upfront and honest with you, okay? And we understand you're scared. Okay? So we're trying to work with you. I want you to start working with us.
What we discussed a little bit, okay? As you know, I mean, we've talked with a lot of people since I've talked with you on Sunday,
Yeah, it's all over Facebook.
okay? Some of it's credible, some of it's not, probably. But we know, I know from talking with other people, okay, that your story, the stuff you've told us, there's a lot of that you know, it's matching up. But I also know that there's parts that are being left out, okay? You had more of an involvement in what this stuff that happened than what you're saying, okay? Based off of what these people are telling you. So that's what we want, is to know your involvement, your total involvement in it, okay? You came up here for a reason today,
Yeah,
okay? What was that reason?
to tell you what I knew.
Okay. We want to know everything, your involvement. So we know it's not going to be pretty, okay?
Okay.
But I want to know the total involvement in this.
I don't understand, like,
We're not saying that you had a knife, you
Right.
were part of
We're
that.
not saying that at all.
right,
We're talking about starting Saturday morning, that you and other people were involved with Vera, not just Nicole and not just Dan, okay? And this is coming from multiple sources. It's coming from all over the place, okay? We know Zach's involved. We don't know exactly how you're involved. We know about you hitting her with the belt. That part's true. I'm having some issues with your version of the story, though. Okay? And in the big scheme of things, in the big picture, it's way down here. Her death is way up here. Okay? So you need to think about how honest you want to be with us. Okay? And if you need to go home and relax and maybe come back tomorrow, we're trying to be as honest with you as we can. Okay, you're in trouble.
Right,
Okay,
right.
you are in trouble. You lied in the course of a murder investigation. You just straight out lied. There's no other way to describe it. You completely lied. But I don't think you're the only one who's lied. And I don't think you need to go down for a bunch of people you've known since October.
Right.
Okay? You see where I'm going with that? You are not a Brooks. You married into the family. I hate to see you go down for these people. Okay? You've been seeing how they treat people. They treat people worse than dogs, worse than animals. You've been watching this since October. I don't think that's part of you. Or you wouldn't be here right now talking to us. Because if you were like them, you wouldn't come down here.
Yeah.
Okay? So if that's what you want to do, if you want to go relax, think about, I wouldn't encourage you to talk to anybody about this, including them.
I just,
Okay? And I understand that your family right now, but if the shoe was on the other foot, they throw you under the bus bigger than life. Okay? I don't think you're the only one that knew what happened. I think Zach had a big part in this whole thing. I really, really do.
I believe that too.
And I don't think Sherry's all that innocent in this either. So if you need to go home and collect your thoughts, I would encourage you to do that. And we'll give you one more chance to come in here and tell us the complete truth. Is that fair? Is that what you'd like to do? You've been in here for a while.
yeah, I just,
Okay.
can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Am I gonna get arrested? Like, am I gonna go to jail? Like,
I don't know. It all depends on how honest you are with us.
so if I come in tomorrow and tell you completely everything I know, then,
We'll talk about what you know. I can't make you any promises. I don't know what you're going to tell me
right,
because you're not real close yet.
right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
We'll talk about it. I can't make promises. I don't want to tell you something that I can't own up to because that's not how we operate.
Right, I understand.
But I also know you've only been there for what? November,
Since
December,
October,
January,
yeah.
February, 5 months. It's not even half a year yet. And
Yeah,
this is where you're ending up.
I just,
Okay. And I don't know Mike that well. I don't know, is he a true Brooks?
no,
No,
he
really?
was,
he's just a transplant.
he was adopted when he was younger,
Yeah.
and he's been with him since he was 18, so,
And it's my understanding that they're treating him like a chauffeur.
pretty much,
And
yeah.
I don't
they-
know how, and if Mike wants to come and talk to us, I would encourage him to do so. Because
Right.
I don't know how deep Mike's into it right now either.
He's on probation, so
Well,
I
that
don't
doesn't mean
know.
it's ill beans.
I don't know.
So, why don't you get out of here, come back tomorrow. Do you have any idea what time you'd like to come talk to us?
I can come in the morning sometime if it's okay. I mean, either between
Is it 10? Is that too early?
10:30.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, you ask for Kurt or Scott, okay?
Okay.
In my car.
If you're comfortable talking with the two of us, we'll talk to you again,
Okay.
okay?
Right.
But just remember, we're not close yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I know you want to do the right thing, I know you're scared.
I am. I'm very scared.
There's only one thing that's gonna make you feel better, and that's being completely honest with us.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay?
All right.
She had your card.
Yes, you saw my card?
Yeah.
Okay. If for some reason you can't make it up, just give us a call, and we'll figure another time that we can get together, okay?
All right.
You can have a seat there. Grab my folder real quick. I apologize. I'm trying to write too many notes here because I can't
Yeah, it's okay.
write here well, so. It's not real pretty, I'll tell you that.
You're practicing for when you go to med school.
Is that what?
Oh,
Yes. Yeah.
I thought you just meant you had bad. I didn't even.
Oh, no. No, it was bad before, but it's really bad
Was
now.
that
So.
carpal tunnel or
No, I fractured my wrist.
Oh my
actually,
gosh.
So
in the line of duty?
it was in training. So just a freak thing that happened.
Wow.
So. Okay. Before we really get started, I usually, start out and I try to get updated information. It's been a while since I've really talked
Yeah.
with you,
Yep.
and usually just address, phone numbers, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So, I know you're living in Lima now,
Mhm.
correct? Okay. Where
Yep.
you living at there?
It's on 803 Fairview Avenue.
What's the zip there?
45804.
Okay. And phone number?
419.
This is your cell?
Mhm.
Okay.
Nine three 70.
Okay. You have a house number?
Just
Working anywhere?
Mhm.
School? Maybe? Okay. All right. And at this point, what I was going to do is, I know you wanted to come in here and talk voluntarily. You have your attorney with you. Unless you want to waive it or something, I was still going to read her rights,
Oh,
just because
fine. That's
you were
fine.
under indictment and everything. So
Alright.
that way you understand everything, what the rights are and whatnot. So let me grab that here real quick. And 2 copies, which we'll see that enough to follow along if you need to. Okay. Excuse me. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to the advice and presence of a lawyer, even if you cannot afford to hire one. If you wish a lawyer, you're going to pay for one, and you apply to the court, and one will be appointed for the cost charged to you. It's not really going to apply right here, since your attorney's sitting next to you. If you wish to answer questions without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering anytime. You have the right to stop answering questions anytime. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Okay. Again, some of this doesn't apply because your attorney is right here, but just so that you understand what your rights are with an
Right.
attorney and that. So, okay, you understand those rights?
Mhm.
Can you read the waiver out loud back to me, please?
I have read the statement of my rights shown above. I understand what my rights are. I'm willing to answer questions and make a statement. I do
And
not.
that one we're going to asterisk. And that one,
Oh, this-
or have you initial, if you would, just initial next to that one, since your attorney is.
And if you have any questions about anything, you can just ask me.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I understand and know what I'm doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure of any kind has been used against me.
Okay. You understand knowing that?
Mhm.
Any questions about that for me or Cindy?
Actually, about the threats part,
Okay.
does that mean like outside of this or like anybody or I'm like kind of curious on that one.
Okay. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure of any kind has been used against me.
Okay.
They're referring to the police, or
Oh,
law
okay,
enforcement,
okay,
judicial system, but they're
Okay.
referring to us.
no.
That
Right.
we're not pressuring you to
Okay.
make, a statement, or have not threatened you that you have to make a statement.
Right.
I don't know if you want to expand on that as her attorney,
Well,
but it's,
I think she's gotten some threatening comments from people in the community, and that's what she.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I was talking about. Like if it meant that or something else. So.
okay. That, what you have to understand is it's voluntary, you coming in
Right,
here to talk.
right, yeah.
We are not forcing you to, or
Yes.
threatening you or pressuring you to,
Mhm.
so, as long as you understand that.
Yep.
Okay. If you're still willing to talk, anything else? Put your signature on this line, and then if you could print your name there. Cindy, can I get you to sign underneath there? I can't, it's just not getting any better.
Actually, your handwriting with your left is better than a lot of people's with their right. So
That's true, yeah. Okay. Jen, what's the highest level of education you have?
12th, I graduated.
Graduate? Okay. Where'd you graduate from?
Sydney High.
Okay. All right. So, what is it that you would like to talk about, Shannon?
Well, when I came in here the first 2 times, I was obviously living with the Brooks family, and I was feeling very threatened by them, and I was feeling very unsafe. And I wasn't able to say everything I wanted to say because they threatened me every time I would leave. If I talked to you guys, then I would end up next, or they would hurt me or something, and that scared me, so I kind of didn't say everything. So I just kind of wanted to, I wanted to say everything now that I knew, and I actually want to go back to when I actually first moved in.
Okay.
From what I seen and what I heard, and it's been haunting me since I moved out. And when they told me that I would be able to talk to you guys again, I took the chance at it because I knew I wasn't with them and I was safe now and they couldn't hurt me. So
Okay.
I just kind of wanted to, tell everything now that I knew, and what Sherry had said and everything that she did and everything, and
Okay.
so
Okay.
anything that'll help.
Okay. So you want to start when you moved in?
Yeah, I can't remember, specific dates or times,
Okay.
but I can try
We'll do our best. See if
Yeah.
we can figure it out.
because it's been a while.
Okay.
So
When did you move in?
I moved in the end of August of 2010.
Okay. And that was at what address?
300 Center Street because
Okay.
they had just moved into the house. So
Okay.
we moved into there. it actually starts like when I first started going to their house, when I first started dating Michael. When they lived on County Road 220, that's when I first started seeing stuff. And it it shocked me in the beginning because I didn't think anyone, would be that mean or anything. But this was back in the end of July. I started going over to their house, and in the beginning, Vera seemed, happy, but not, the happy-go-lucky type person. She was sad in a way, and, I would always talk to her and ask her, things about her life and stuff and everything. And then one day I went over there and she was holding her hand like this, and I asked her what was wrong, and she moved her hand and she had a big black spot right there. And she had told me that Zachary had shot her in the hand with a BB gun.
Okay.
And I confronted Zachary about it, and I asked him, and he said, well, it's none of your business what goes on here. I backed out of it. I said, okay, So.
That was on Center Street or at the other place yet?
Out on 220.
Okay.
That was out there.
Okay.
And so, I kind of talked to her, trying to, see if she was okay, if she needed help or anything. And she told me, no, I'm fine, She said, I'll be okay. This is, I'm used to it. And I said, well, you shouldn't have to live like that. And she said, well, if I leave, they'll take my daughter. And that was really her main concern, was her daughter. So, the next couple of days that I went over there, everything seemed fine. And then August 5th is when their brother, Punky, had passed away. I had seen Zachary snap. He went ballistic and he started throwing stuff, and he actually threw, I think it was a bottle, like a baby bottle. He threw it at Vera, and it hit her in the eye, and it had given her a black eye. And I told Zachary to calm down, and when I did, Sherry stepped in and said he doesn't have to calm down, his brother just died. And I looked at her and I said, well, he just hit Vera. And she's like, oh, well, she'll get over it. And I didn't say anything because, Sherry scares me. And so I stayed out of it then. And then, when I moved in it was Punky's funeral on the 13th of August. I had showed up to their house that morning, and I seen Vera, and her face was all bruised up, and her face was all puffed up and everything. And I asked her what happened, and all she said was, I can't talk about it. And right then and there, I knew it had to have been Zachary, because he was the one that always, when I was around, that was the only one that was hitting her. And so I assumed it was Zachary, and then Zachary was laughing about it because he was sitting in the living room and he was talking about it and laughing like it was funny what happened, that he had hit her, and he was proud of it. And at that time, Sherry was a little edgy about it because, she tried to put makeup on her so it would cover the bruises and everything. But when they got to the funeral home, people actually seen it. And I know they did because they were all talking to her. And I kind of went in my own little corner, I guess, because I felt bad for her. And I told 3 people at the funeral home about it, and I'm not sure, if maybe they called the cops, or I know someone showed up later on for it, but I told a girl named Christy Restmeyer, I told a guy, Drew Nelson, and can't remember the other person I told. I know it was those 2 that I told.
Mhm.
And then after that, things seemed okay, and I didn't go over there for a while because I was getting sick from their house. And so I stayed home for a while, and then Michael had asked me to move in with him, so I ended up moving in the end of August.
Okay.
And it was, I'm gonna say, a week maybe after we moved in, Zachary had gotten mad at Vera. Can't remember what it was for, but he had gotten mad at her, and he had thrown a hairbrush at her, Sherry's hairbrush, and it had hit her right here, and it had broke her nose.
Mhm.
And I grabbed Vera and I took her in the bathroom, and I texted my friend Crystal, and I told her, you need to call the cops. I couldn't do it because if they found out that it was me, then I didn't know what would happen. So I told Crystal, you need to call the cops, Zachary just threw a hairbrush and broke her nose.
You
So
actually saw that happen?
Yes,
Okay.
I seen it happen. I was in the living room. Zachary was in the doorway of this was on Center Street.
Okay.
Zachary was in the doorway of the kitchen in the living room.
Mhm.
And Vera was sitting on the floor in front of Sherry, wrapping her feet. And she had turned around because Zachary had said Vera really loud. She turned around, and the next thing you know, he's got a hairbrush and just throws it at her. And it hits her right here, dead in the middle. And her nose started swelling up real big, and she just blood everywhere.
Mhm.
So I got up, and I went, and I took her in the bathroom, and I cleaned her nose up and her face and stuff, and she always thanked me. So she said thank you, and I took her back in there, and as we were in the bathroom, I texted my friend, and I told her, you need to call the cops. Zachary just hit her in the face. And I'm not sure if she did or not. I can't remember if it was in August that they showed up or if it was later. But so I'm not sure if she did, but then a couple months went by. And then in November, her daughter was walking because she just learned how to walk, and she was walking around this coffee table they had in the living room.
Mhm.
And Vera was sitting on the love seat that was right by the table. Well, she had walked past Vera, and she had fell.
You're talking about Willadine?
Yeah, Willadine, sorry.
That's okay.
And she fell and she had hit her head really bad on the corner of the table.
Mhm.
And I was sitting in the living room, I seen it happen. Vera did not touch her.
Mhm.
And Zachary had gotten upset and he said that Vera pushed her.
Mhm.
And that's all it took. Zachary went crazy and he grabbed her by her throat and he told her that he is not allowed to touch, or that she was not allowed to touch his daughter ever again. And he threw her on the ground and he picked up Willadine, and she couldn't breathe, the baby, she couldn't breathe. So he was patting her back and stuff, trying to get her to breathe, and then finally she could. Well, Vera had went into Sherry's room. Sherry had gotten mad, like Zachary. She stood up off of her bed, and she had grabbed Vera, and she's got long fingernails, Sherry does. And she had started clawing at Vera's back, and Vera was just crying. And I wanted to do something, but, I had a cup thrown at my face because I tried to get in it before. And I actually had fractured my nose right here from it. So,
Who threw that at you?
Scotty, the oldest one, he had threw it at me. And so, I guess that was maybe my warning to stay out of it from now on. I don't know. But I wanted to get up, and I wanted to do something so bad. And I seen Sherry do that, and I stood up and I told Sherry, you need to stop. And then that's when Zachary came up to me and said, you need to stay out of it. So I said, okay. And I did. And then they left her alone for a while, and then Zachary went down the street to his Aunt Sam, they called her, Samantha Schwab or something like that. And she had come down, and next thing you know, she's telling Vera to go in her room. And Samantha is telling Vera to go into Vera's room. And she does. She's laying on the bed, and I was sitting on the couch, and I could, just see slightly around the corner on her bed, and I couldn't see the whole thing, but Zachary, Chucky, Garth, and Sherry were all telling Samantha to punch her. Just punch her, that's all they kept saying. Just hit her, get her now. So Samantha punched her in the face, broke her nose again, for the second time that I seen. So the first time was Zachary, and then Samantha did it. So naturally, her nose was big, and Samantha afterwards was being all nice to her and told her to go clean up, wash her face, and then, go in and watch TV like it never happened. And then, the next day, Sherry had called or texted, I'm not sure. She called Crystal Ferguson to come over because she wanted to tell her something. So Crystal came over, and Sherry had told her what Vera supposedly had done. And Crystal started hitting her. And that took me away because that's not Crystal. She, as far as I've known her, she's never done that. But she started hitting her. And so, that one I stepped into because Crystal, she used to be my friend. So, at that time I stepped in and I told her to knock it off. She ended up hitting me. So I backed away, and Zachary and Garth and Chucky and Sherry were just sitting there laughing, and I was just in amazement. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I've never seen anybody, be beaten in my life, and so I sat there and I watched it, and I couldn't get to the phone because Sherry always had that phone in her hand. Always. Could never get to the phone. And my cell phone was out of minutes. I didn't have any minutes, and I didn't know if you could still use it if you had no minutes to call the cops or not. So I didn't know what to do, so she stopped finally, and she had left, and Vera was, sitting on the floor all curled up in a ball with her hands like this, and her knees up to her chest, like she always did. And things cooled down during, Christmas and stuff, and then January, I think it was. I think that's when Children's Services was out there. Somebody had seen her or something, and Children's Services had came out to the house to check on Melody, and then the cops had showed up, and of course, Sherry was talking for Vera, telling the cops that it was some guy named Desmond something in Lima, her ex-boyfriend who had beat her up and stuff because she had all the bruises on her face and everything. And I kept shaking my head no, hoping that the cop would see me shaking my head no, and they never looked at me. So it kind of went on, that it was someone else, but I think everybody knew better, that it wasn't some other guy. And then in February, Vera had picked up Willoughby because she was getting into something, and she picked her up to move her. Well, Zachary had caught her, and once again he had went off, and he had.
What do you mean he caught her?
He was in the living room, and she was in Sherry's room like she always was.
Uh-huh.
And Willoughby was getting into they had a box of clothes sitting by the TV in Sherry's room.
Mm-hmm.
And Willoughby was getting into the clothes and stuff, and Sherry had asked her to get Willoughby. I don't know if it was maybe to set her up or what.
Okay.
But she had asked her to get Willoughby to move her. So Vera, she usually does what she's told. So she grabbed her and she moved her and she gave her a kiss on the cheek, And Zachary had seen her picking her up, and he didn't like it because he told her she was not allowed to pick up his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And Vera said, I'm sorry, And Vera was sitting on the floor in front of Sherry again, and he had kicked her in the back of her head, and her head went forward like this, and she hit the front of her head on Sherry. So Sherry got mad at her, and she grabs her, and Vera tries to, move. She moved over by the TV, which was like across from the bed at the end of the bed. And Vera had moved over there, and Sherry had gotten up, and she grabs Vera by her hair, pulled her shirt over her head, like she was maybe trying to choke her or something. I wasn't really sure. And then once again, she takes her nails and she starts clawing at her back again, and she starts punching her in her back. And it took Zachary, Garth, and Kevin Sr. to get Sherry off of her. And I told Sherry, I was like, you guys really need to stop doing this. It's gonna kill her, I thought, you guys are gonna do something horrible. And I started crying. I was so scared, not only, for my life, but for Vera and for the baby. And after that, things started to slow down, but then towards the end of February, early March, like the beginning of March, that's when Chucky started getting involved in it. He would kick her in the back of her head. He would punch her, smack her, pull her hair. He cut her hair off once. He spray painted her hair. I couldn't stand it. And Chucky's small, so I thought, okay, I'll try and get in this one. But I was wrong. He's very mean. He punched me, and he started calling me names. And he pushed me away and told me if I got in the middle of it, then I'd be next. Whatever that meant. So, after that, it came to, I had went to my aunt's house for 3 days, I think, for St. Patrick's Day. So I had left, and then I came home, and then on the 22nd, I believe it was the 22nd or 23rd, that's when Danny and Nicole had showed up. And the first, I'd say, day and a half, things were fine. You know, they paid no attention to Vera. Everyone left her alone. And then Vera had looked at Danny. Just one look is all it took, and all she did was just glancing back. Nicole got mad. She had went in and asked Sherry if she could hit her. I said, come on, you guys. Don't, just leave her alone. And so Nicole had went in. She grabbed her by her hair and she punched her pretty hard. And Vera at that point, she knew not to cry. She knew not to say stop. So she just kept quiet and she just sat on the couch and let her do it. And Nicole had hit her maybe 5-6 times, and then
Where was she hitting her? What part of the body?
everywhere, pretty much. She was just, just taking swings at her, and she was just hitting her a couple times in the face, and then she'd go towards, her chest and her abdomen, and then her legs. And so then she finally stopped because Danny had told her to stop. And then, sorry, then they left her alone for the rest of the day, and then I'm gonna say the 24th, I think it was, or 25th, can't really remember. Danny and Nicole, and I think it was Zachary, Chucky, and Garth, and Scotty. They had all left, so it was just me, Vera, Sherry, Michael, and Kevin home. And Michael and Kevin were outside. They were fixing a bike, I think. And I was inside, and I had told Vera, I didn't really tell her. I started talking to her, and I asked her if she was okay, if she needed anything, and she said she was thirsty. So I got her some water, and she drank that, and Sherry looks at me, and she's like, why are you being so nice to her? She ain't worth it. And I said, you're wrong, she is, she's a good person. And Sherry said, no, she's not. She's only here because of that baby. And I said, I just shook my head. I didn't want to believe what I was hearing. That was her cousin. That was her family. And she said the only reason that Vera was there was because of the baby. If that baby wasn't there, Vera wouldn't have been there. And I told her, well, that was a poor excuse, And Sherry started yelling at me, calling me, all these names, and telling me that maybe she should have Zachary start hitting me every once in a while, then maybe I'd be better. And then, Michael had overheard her say that because he was walking up on the porch when she had said that. Michael had come in and said, you don't need to talk to her like that. She's not, a bad person. She's just doing what's right, and everything. And so Sherry had left me alone for a little bit. And then the next day, I was upstairs, I think. Yeah, I was upstairs. And all I heard was a big loud scream. And I was like, what the hell? And
I've heard it.
so I'm like, I walked downstairs and it was Vera. She was screaming. And I'm like, what is going on? She's holding her leg on her left side. And she's just sitting there holding it. And all I see is blood. And I'm just like, oh my God. And she moves her hand. And Zachary had stabbed her in her leg. And that's when Zachary came up to me and he had the knife. You know, he's like this in front of my face. And he's like, you tell anybody and I'll do it to you. So I didn't say anything. And I went over to Vera and I grabbed the peroxide and the gauze and stuff. And I cleaned it up and everything. And Sherry tried to help us, you know, best she could. And she actually took her finger, Sherry took her finger, and she stuck it inside the wound right there. And Vera was crying because it hurt. And I said, you need to stop doing that. It's hurting her. And she's like, she'll live. And I was just like, oh my God. So, you know, I finished helping her clean up and stuff and putting the gauze and tape and stuff on. And Sherry had told her to go sit in the living room while she went to bed. It was middle of the afternoon. Sherry lays down, you know, she's sleeping like she always does. And, you know, so it's just me and Vera. And then Danny and Nicole and Chucky and Garth walk in. I don't know where they went or where they were coming from. They walk in and Danny's yelling he got stabbed, you know. And he's got, I think it was 2 or 3 stab wounds on his leg. And he's all, you know, yelling and hollering and stuff. So Sherry wakes up and they clean his leg up and everything, and things are back to normal, you know. No one's hitting anyone or anything, and then out of nowhere, Chucky goes in the kitchen and he grabs the dish soap and he puts it in a cup with water and he brings it in. And at first he wanted me to drink it. And I said, no, I know what that is. And he goes over to Vera and he forced her to drink it. He put it up to her mouth and she kept saying no. She kept shaking her head like this. And he opened, like he went like this to her and, you know, he pulled her face and made her drink it. And she runs in the bathroom and she gets sick. And then he goes back into the kitchen and he dumps the rest out, I guess, and everything. And Vera comes back in and she's holding her stomach and she says, I don't feel good. And, you know, she starts crying a little bit. So I told her, you know, just sit on the couch. Just sit there. And I didn't know, you know, what to do. And because everyone was telling me, oh, you don't need to call poison control. So I don't know what to do when you drink soap, you know? So I was kind of scared. So, you know, I called poison control and I got like this help machine thingy. And they told you what to do, like if you drink soap or something, and all they say is drink a lot of water. So I went in and I got her a big glass of water and I told her to drink it. It just made her more sick. I didn't know what to do, so I went to Sherry. And Sherry said, well, she'll be fine, just let her sit there. I'm just like, oh my God. I did not know this family. And I regret it sometimes, but, you know, after Chucky had done that, he had went down to Samantha's house or something, and then they finally left her at home, and then the day of the 26th shows up, and I got up, you know, like every Saturday, went to the food giveaway with Kevin, Scotty, and Michael. And we had come home 10:30, something like that. And those Friday and Saturday, Sherry had Punky's son, which is Little K, she had him. And so I had put both of them in the high chairs, Little K and Melody. And I gave them a cupcake and something else, I forget, cereal or Pop-Tarts or something. And then Zachary was asleep on the couch. Danny and Nicole were upstairs. Chucky was upstairs, Garth was upstairs. So, as soon as, we had the babies in the high chair and stuff, Zachary wakes up and everything, and Vera's in Sherry's room, wrapping her feet, like always. And for no reason, Zachary just gets up, goes in there, and kicked her in her side, where her kidney is, or something. And then Danny and Nicole come downstairs, and by that time, I had the two kids out of the high chair, and I was giving, I think it was Melody, and I gave a bath to first. I took her in the bathroom to give her a bath, brought her out, got her dressed, and then I gave the other one a bath and got him dressed. And everyone's awake at that time, they're all awake and yelling and everything else just for no reason, I guess. And so I had the two kids in the living room, and then Danny and Nicole are in Sherry's room talking about something. I couldn't really hear what they were saying. And Kevin and Michael had left to go to Dollar General, I think. They went somewhere, I know that. And I was sitting on the couch, just watching the two kids run back and forth. And Vera was in Sherry's room, sitting by the TV where the dresser was. She was sitting there. And the next thing I know, Vera kept saying no. So I got up, I got up and I walked over, and all I seen was Nicole punching her. She just kept punching her. She wouldn't stop. And I found out why she was doing it is because Sherry had told Nicole that Vera supposedly had pushed Willard and tried to kill her. And Nicole she went off. And she had her on the floor, and she one punch after another. She just kept punching her in her side, her back, her head, her face. I can't find a word for it. And then Danny steps in, and he starts kicking her in her side. And I had grabbed Danny by his arm, and I said, stop, and he pushed me away, and he just kept kicking her. And then finally Garth and Zachary had said stop. And they finally stopped, and they had to pull Nicole off of her. And Vera could barely move. I imagine maybe she had broken her inside. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but at that time, I was so shaken up, and I was so scared. I was sitting on Sherry's bed, and I was just shaking really bad, and I was kind of out of it. I couldn't really understand what was going on around me. My head was spinning. I don't know if maybe it was from seeing what they did, or from what was going on, or what, but I was just sitting there, and Sherry had given me a Xanax, I think it was. I took them before. I had a prescription for him, but I needed something to calm me down, and she told me to take that, and I said, it's not going to kill me, is it? Being smart, And she's like, no, it's not going to hurt you, and everything. And so I took it, and I sat there, and I had a glass of water in my hand, and Danny just starts kicking her again. And I'm just like, you guys really need to stop doing this. You really need to stop. And at that point, I started crying, like really bad. Ugh. And so, then that's when Danny had grabbed the belt. I'm not sure if it was his belt or someone else's belt, but he had grabbed a belt. And the first time they started hitting her, it was just the belt. They had started hitting her with it on her back, on her head, and everything. And it was Nicole who started hitting her first, and then Danny did it. And then that's when he pulled the knife out and came at me with it and held it right here. And he kept telling me, do it now. Defend your man, whatever that meant, I didn't know. And so he pushed it closer to my neck, and I could feel the blade on my neck at that point. And I kept telling him, no, I can't do it. I've never hit anybody, and I can't do it. At that point, Zachary had grabbed a lock. It was like a gold lock, I think, off of the top of Sherry's, or no, it was the bike lock. Okay, it wasn't a lock, it was the piece that goes around the handlebars or something. And he had grabbed that and they put it on it. And Nicole had started hitting her with it first. And Danny kept pushing me towards her. And he kept pushing it further into my neck. So I grabbed it. And I just tapped her at first. And they didn't like it, so Danny grabbed my arm and he had swung my arm back and he made me throw my arm down. And after 2 times, I was like, no, I can't do this. So I dropped the belt and I moved back. And at that point, Vera was just laying there. And I didn't know what was going on. I had blacked out there for a second or 2, I think. And she was just, at that point, she was just holding her head like this, and she was just curled up in a ball again. And at that point, I went in the living room and I sat on the couch on the love seat, and I cried. I started crying because I've never hit anybody, and I didn't like it at all. And I wanted to turn around and I wanted to hit Danny. I really did. And I don't know why I didn't. And so I was sitting on the love seat. And then they tell Vera to go upstairs because there were cops outside for some reason, a fight down the street or something. And I guess they didn't want them to see her if they came to the house or something. So Danny took Vera upstairs, and he said that he made her lay on the floor. Just lay straight on the floor, did not touch anything. And they had the mace, and Danny had sprayed the mace on her.
Who had the mace? You said they.
Oh, Danny and Nicole. They both had it. And then Danny had taken it from Nicole and he had sprayed Vera all over her eyes, everything. And that smell is just like, when you have asthma, it makes it really hard to breathe. So I was like panting, trying to breathe and stuff. And Danny had run downstairs and said that Vera had sprayed it when I actually found out that it was Danny who sprayed it. And he was blaming everything on Vera, that she was the one that sprayed it. Well, I was having a hard time breathing. I couldn't breathe. My stomach was hurting really bad and everything. And I had went out to the hospital. Zachary and Garth had rode with me and Michael. And I had been out there for stomach pains and breathing problems. And then I had been feeling, nauseous and stuff that day, and I was feeling, this was early in the morning, I was feeling nauseous and hungry and everything, and of course, you tell Sherry that she automatically assumes that you're pregnant. She don't care if you're a girl or a guy. She assumes you're pregnant. So, they assumed. I never said anything about being pregnant to them. And all I said was, I feel like it. That's all I said to them. And then I went to the hospital that night and, they did an ultrasound. There was nothing there. So, okay, I knew I wasn't. And the reason I was having stomach pains is because my chest was tightening up from the spray they had sprayed and everything. Well, after the hospital, I had went home and we had went upstairs and I walked in my room and I was talking to Michael and our door was shut and I had mentioned something about, there wasn't nothing there, that I wasn't pregnant. And Nicole lost it. She came in our room and she's like, you lost the baby. I was like, whoa, I never said I was pregnant, I said I'm not. There was nothing there. And she's like, well, I don't care. She's going to pay for what she did to you. And I'm like, she didn't do nothing to me. And at that point, I wasn't thinking. I was on medicine from the hospital and everything. And then that's when Danny walks in and he's like, she's gone. She's dead. I'm going to kill her. And I'm just like, whatever. I thought he was just kidding. I didn't think anything of it at the time. And with the medicine the doctor had put me on at the hospital, I was really woozy and I was just like really dizzy and tired. And so, I thought, okay, it's just a joke. Nothing's going to happen. So, I went downstairs and I told Sherry what the hospital had to say and everything. And I went in and I told her, just to make sure so she knew that I wasn't pregnant and everything. And I told her, and then out of a glance of my eye, I turn around and Vera's in her room and she's getting her shoes on. And I was like, where are you going? And Chucky was like, well, she has to go with Danny and Nicole. I said, well, where are they going? And he's like, they're just taking a walk. I was like, I'm really tired, I was half asleep through everything. And so Nicole goes in Vera's room and she grabs her by her arm and she takes her out on the porch. And I knew I should have gotten up and I should have called. And I did. And now she's not here. And they they had left, and when they had came back, they had blurted it out to everybody in that house what they had done to her. And all Nicole kept saying, well, she's gone. She's gone. You don't have to worry about it no more. Sherry was on her computer, typing, doing something. And she had walked up to Sherry and she said, I got my first teardrop. And Sherry just looked at her and she started laughing. She just laughed at her. And then Sherry looked at me and she just smiled, and I looked away and I ran upstairs. And when me and Michael had went upstairs, I started crying. I said, this can't be real. This can't be real. And I had went back downstairs to try and get the phone. Sherry was on the phone talking to somebody. I don't know who she was talking to. And I just went back upstairs and I laid down and I woke up, and that's when we came here the first time. And I should have said everything when I first came in here and talked. And I didn't. and now.
Okay. Well, you're here now, and that's what's important. So, just want to go back a little over some of the stuff. On that day when it was happening, and when they were getting ready to leave, who all left with Vera?
Danny and Nicole had left with her.
It was just 3 of them.
Just the 3 of them. Chucky, as far as I know, was on the front porch.
Mhm.
I mean, he came right back in, and that's when he told us that they had, they went for the walk.
Okay. And Chucky told you
Mhm.
that they went for a walk.
Mhm.
Did Vera say anything to you?
No, all she said was, she kept saying, I don't want to go, it's too cold, And I told Vera when she was standing by the wall before they had taken her out of the house, I told her, just stay here, don't go, just stay here, do not leave with them. She's like, if I don't, they're gonna hurt me again. And I feel horrible because I didn't do anything. And Sherry was awake. Why didn't she say something? Why didn't she do anything? It's always on my mind. I just can't get it out of my head.
What about Danny or Nicole? Did they say anything to you before they left?
All they said was, we'll be back. That's all they said. And I just... well, they had said that they want to meet up with Vera's boyfriend, which was Larry.
Who said that?
Danny and Nicole had said that.
They both said it, or one of them said that? You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah. it was Danny who said it,
Okay.
and Nicole had repeated it, I guess, after he had said it. Because she was like, yeah, Larry called. Or something like that.
Okay.
And then Vera said, she was like, well, I don't want to go. It's too cold. And then I just assumed that's where they were going. I guess I wasn't thinking.
So when Danny and Nicole came back, you said that they came in and just blurted out what they had done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is where I want you to be specific of what was said and who said it specifically.
Okay. I was in the kitchen getting a bottle for loading, and Nicole had come up behind me, and she had put her arms around me, and she kept saying, it's done, it's over, no more. And I said, what are you talking about? Really shocked. I didn't know what she was talking about. And then she turns around and she says, it's done. I was like, what's done? And then she started explaining what they'd done, and she told me that they had taken a knife and they had stabbed her in the chest and her hurt, I think they said. They had shoved it up her
You can say it.
vagina, and that they had stabbed her repeatedly. They took her clothes off of her, and then that's when Danny stepped in and said that she's laying on the railroad tracks and she's naked. And I was just like, my mouth fell open, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then they had went into Sherry's room, Danny and Nicole, and that's when Nicole had walked up to Sherry and said it was done, it was over, and that she had gotten her first real teardrop. And Danny started laughing, And then they had told Sherry the same thing. They had told me all the details.
You heard him
Yes,
telling you?
I had heard them. And Sherry had turned around and faced Nicole, and she just shook her head like this. She just shook it up and down, and then she started laughing. Sherry did. And then she just turned around, back to the computer, and just started typing again. Didn't say nothing, didn't do nothing. Then she looked at me, smiled, turned around, back to her computer. And that was that.
So who all was there when they came back?
Me, Michael, Garth, Chucky, Garth's friend Alan, Kat, Scotty, Kevin, Sherry, and Zachary, and the baby.
It's pretty much everyone that was living.
Pretty much everyone, yeah.
Okay. And they were all awake yet?
Yeah, they were all in different rooms of the house.
Did sorry, I almost said Shannon. Did Nicole or Danny, make any statements? As you said, they were saying we did this. Did either of them make a statement of who did what?
They just said that we. They didn't say I or anything. They didn't tell us, who done it first, who ended it, who did what. All they said was we. I do know that Zachary was going to go with them that night.
Okay.
He was going to go with them until Sherry told him not to. So he stayed home.
How do you know he was going to go?
Because they didn't think I could hear him. But I was sitting on the couch when I heard Zachary say that I want to go. That's what Zachary said. He's like, I want to go. I want to go with them. And then Sherry said, no, you need to stay here. You have your daughter to think about. And so then it just ended up being Danny and Nicole who took her.
Was there more to that conversation that you heard?
That's all I heard. I mean, I didn't exactly hear everything that they had said. All I heard was Zachary saying, I want to go, or I want to go, He just kept saying it over and over. And he was like kind of not fighting, but arguing with Sherry about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Sherry said, no, you have your daughter to think about.
Mm-hmm. So after they came back and all this stuff was said, what happened from that point?
After everything was said, the boys they went off and done their own thing, I guess. They went upstairs or something. And me and Michael had went upstairs in our room. We were watching TV, I think. And then we had fallen asleep. And then at 1 o'clock in the morning, Danny, Nicole, Zachary, and Garth come barging in our room, and they're drunk. And I'm like, what is going on? And Danny had said that they went to his sister Desta's house and had gotten drunk. And all I was thinking was, okay, Garth and Zachary and Nicole are all underage, and they're drinking. And then, I was just like, I went downstairs for 5 minutes, and all I heard was yelling and screaming, because Danny's sister was outside yelling, telling him to come on and stuff. And Nicole had went into their room, which was actually Zachary's room, and passed out on the bed. Danny had grabbed her phone and a shirt, I think, and he had ran downstairs and had went with his sister. Sherry was still up on the computer, and I had went back upstairs and went back to bed. Michael had went downstairs to help get the boys, Zachary and Garth, to their rooms because they were puking everywhere.
Mhm.
So he had to help Sherry get them to bed. So, and then he finally went back to bed around 5 o'clock that morning.
So when we showed up, you remember that? Meaning the police officers initially that showed up. Did you talk to them at all? But were you awake when they were there?
I don't remember. All I remember is you guys, the detectives, showing up. That's all.
Okay.
I don't really remember the cops showing up there.
One other thing that just kind of, when you said it today, it kind of surprised me because when I talked with you initially, and I don't think it's a huge deal, so don't freak out that I'm bringing it up, but as far as the pregnancy, what you told me today is quite a bit different from what you told me the first time around, okay? First time around, you told me that, you had done several self-pregnancy tests that showed you were pregnant and everything, and had been telling you were pregnant, and told the ER and everything that you were pregnant. The way you described it today is a little bit different. So, and the only reason I'm bringing that up, my concern about that is, okay, when you're coming and telling me this stuff, what do I believe? Do you see what I'm saying? If you're sitting in my shoes,
Yeah.
you're in my place, that's the only concern I have over
Right,
that. Okay. So I don't know if you want to expand on that, which way we're going. I mean, we obviously know you weren't pregnant. I mean,
Yeah.
the medical record showed that and everything.
Mhm.
So, and again, it's not. I'm not trying to bind you up or anything like that. I just, as far as to know where we're at on this honesty level, I don't know where I'm at with the rest of what you're telling me today. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I had taken, I think it was 2 or 3 home pregnancy tests. And I did tell the ER that, but they had done one at the hospital and it did come back negative.
Mhm.
So then, I knew I wasn't.
Okay.
But the home, it's the problem with my system thingy. I get false negatives, I get false positives. It's just, there's a lot of, issues that I have, and I'm on a lot of medicine for it and everything, but
Okay.
I did forget to mention that today, but yes, I did do them at home and they were positive, but then when I went to the ER and told them what they had said, and they had done a blood test that had come back negative. So I, in fact, was not pregnant. So it's been like that for a very long time.
Excuse me. So, anything else that you can think of? You want to say? Let's see real quick.
Nothing I can think of. I think I've pretty much said everything that I've been wanting to.
Because we're to that point. There was a couple times there where you tried contacting me and everything else, and then didn't come back up.
Yeah.
But I cannot seek you out at that point once you've asked for an attorney and everything. Okay, so I just want to make sure you understand that
Yeah.
it's got to be, if you want to do it, you're the one that's going to have to make those set those gears in motion, so, with your attorney, so. Okay,
Okay.
all right, anything for me? Not? Okay. Thank you.
I just noticed that cast zips. I've never seen
Yeah,
a
it's,
zip.
I guess the new wave of things now, kind of cast. Follow along there, you reading and write okay? This question, can you read and write okay, Zach?
What's your highest level of education? Completed?
Graduated.
You graduated? Okay. Finland High School?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to the advice and presence of a lawyer, even if you cannot afford to hire one. If you wish a lawyer and cannot pay for one, you may apply to the court, and one will be appointed for you without cost or charge to you. If you wish to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer. Okay? You understand those rights?
Yep.
You have any questions about them?
Nope.
Okay. You read this waiver out loud back to me?
These.
Start right here.
I have the right. I have the right to statement of my right shown above. I understand what my rights are. I am
Willing?
willing to answer questions and make a statement. I do not want a
Lawyer?
I want a lawyer.
You do want a lawyer? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll stop at this point. I'm going to tell you right now, you need to get a lawyer, okay? Because what's happening is, if you don't already know, we've talked to everybody, we've got written statements. There's a lot more than just Daniel and Nicole going down for this, okay? I'm going to tell you that up front, all right? Your mom may be one of them as well, all right? I think you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I think everybody, don't say anything because you said you wanted a lawyer. So I would highly advise you, as soon as you get back over to that jail, you better contact a lawyer, because as they say, everybody's jumping on the bus and you don't want to be the last one on the bus. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying by that?
Yep.
All right. And we ain't bullshitting. We ain't making things up. All right? Get your attorney right away and talk to us. All right?
Yeah. You do your card, all right? So,
Do you specifically have an attorney yet? For anything you're doing?
I have an attorney for this.
Okay.
did you have one?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Kevin Stash.
You might want to contact him. Kevin Stash, is he local or Sass?
Sash.
Oh,
Sass.
Sass,
Okay, Ken Sass?
Yeah.
Now I know who you're talking about. We may give him a call too, so, but I would suggest you give him a call.
Okay.
Let's get this handled, okay?
Okay. What they won't get from you, and if you ain't never been straight with the police before in your life, today's the day you're going to start. They're not going to ask you a single question they don't already know the answer to. Okay? So it's going to benefit you greatly for one of these gentlemen to call Judge Rouse and say they believe you were honest and truthful. Okay? And that's the best shot I can give you. They're going to, I assume we're going to get a rights waiver?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they're going to read you the rights statement, the Miranda statement. And if you have any questions, ask them or ask me.
What's your highest level of education?
I graduated.
Graduated?
Yep.
Okay. You read and write okay?
No.
No? Okay, what do you have troubles with?
Reading and writing.
Reading it
Yep.
and writing? Okay. I'll just go over your rights real quick for you.
Okay.
All right. Before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to the advice and presence of a lawyer, even if you cannot afford to hire one. If you wish a lawyer and cannot pay for one, you may apply to the court and one will be appointed to you without cost or charge to you. If you wish to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You also have the right to stop answering at any time until you talk to a lawyer, okay? The one thing is, he's sitting right here with you, okay?
Yep.
So if you, like he said, if you have any questions or if you want us to step out and talk to him in private for a minute, just let us know and we'll do that, okay? Do you understand all that?
Yep.
Okay, do you understand your rights about that?
Yep.
Okay. Can you read then or not?
Yeah, I can read that.
Okay, can you read the waiver out loud for me, please?
I have read the statement of my rights shown above. I understand what my rights are. I am willing to answer questions and make a statement. I do not want a lawyer present during
This interview?
what he's my lawyer.
Yeah, he's sitting here.
This interview.
It's just a form.
This
So-
interview. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure of any kind has been used against me.
You understand all that?
Yep.
Any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay. And the part that I do not want a lawyer present, he's gonna sit in here for the interview, okay? So, all right, that's if he wasn't in here, if we read your rights. But
Yeah.
understand all that?
Yep.
Okay, still wanna talk to us?
Yeah.
Okay. If I get you to sign your name right there and then print right below, okay? And again, if you have any questions or want to stop, just tell us and we'll give you a minute or two or whatever you need, okay? Kind of know why you want to talk to us, right? Kind of know why we want to talk?
Yep.
Can you kind of go back and tell us what happened that day?
All I remember is Danny and Nicole was beating on my baby's mama, and they were making her eat a bunch of stuff, making her drink soap to piss, and then Shannon told Danny that she was pregnant, which she wasn't, and Shannon told Danny to do what she did.
Okay, so Shannon told.
Danny to kill him.
Okay, is that something you heard?
Yeah.
Okay, do you remember exactly what was said?
Shannon told Danny and Nicole to kill my baby's mom. Because she said that Shannon said that she was pregnant and Vera sprayed pepper mace, whatever that is, and we never had pepper mace or anything like that in the house.
Oh, you did?
No.
Who spread it?
Shannon said that Vera sprayed it and killed her baby that was inside her, and which she was not pregnant. And she said Shannon told Danny and Nicole to kill her.
So where did this conversation take place at?
At my house.
Okay, what room?
In Shannon's room.
Shannon's room?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else hear that?
No.
Okay. And then what happened after she said that?
They waited last at the nighttime, then took her and did that.
Okay. Did you hear him talk to her about leaving or anything like that?
No, once I found out all that, I went to go get drunk.
Okay. And who went? I guess who'd you go drinking with?
My cousin Desta Bixler.
Okay. And was anybody else with you guys?
Just me, Garth, and the dude Alan Cap.
Okay. And was Daniel and Nicole with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
They came a couple hours later though.
Okay. Let me jog your memory, okay? Like we talked about being truthful and honest, okay? That's not matching up with a lot of the other witnesses, okay? So if you went with them, we need to know everything that happened.
I didn't
Alright.
go with them.
I'm not saying when things happen, but I'm saying as far as drinking and all that.
I didn't go with them. I went by myself to my cousin's house. Well, I didn't go by myself. I went with my brother Garth.
Okay. And Alan.
Yeah,
And you guys didn't all go together, meaning Nicole and Danny.
no.
What time did you guys leave?
Well, we left at, I think it was about 10:30.
Okay. And where was everybody else? Where was Danny and Nicole and
Still
Vera
at the
that time?
house.
They're still at the house?
Yeah.
Okay. And you left with Garth and who?
Alan Cap,
And when did Danny and Nicole then show up at Desta's?
12.
At 12. And what was being said, or what did they do when they showed up at Desta's?
They told Desta what they did and everything.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you hear?
That they told Desta that the job was done and that she's dead.
Did they give details as to what happened? Or?
They did not give no details. They just said that the job was done.
Who said it?
Danny and Nicole.
Both of them said it?
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, or?
No, they said it at the separation, like.
Okay.
Then what happened?
We just drunk, started drinking
Okay.
some more.
Did they go into any details?
No,
That you didn't hear any details?
no.
How'd you get back? Or, I mean, did you guys leave Desta's that night?
Yeah,
Or did you-
we left, but she took us home because we couldn't walk home or anything.
Okay. She took you guys home.
We tried to walk home, but we were walking in traffic and everything. She had to take us home.
Was anything said once you guys got home?
No, we all fell asleep.
Okay.
I fell asleep on the couch.
Did you tell anybody that Vera was dead?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even know.
Until they showed up at
Yeah.
Desta's house. Okay. And again, we gotta go back to that truthful part. You never told anybody that Vera was dead.
I didn't tell no one.
You don't remember calling Alan?
I never called Alan. Alan called me.
Okay. Alan called you, and what did you tell him on the phone?
He said that he wanted to come over and smoke some weed and everything. And he came over and smoked some weed with us.
But you didn't tell him anything about Vera being dead?
No,
Because that's not what he's saying.
I never told him about it.
Do you know what your charges are? What are your charges that you're going up for tonight?
For lying to an officer and
Okay. Do you remember who you lied to?
Detective Tuttle, I think it was.
Okay, this is Tuttle.
Yeah. Necker would have been the little guy.
Okay.
Is that who you talked to initially?
Yeah.
Okay.
I lied to him and I'm getting charged with threatening Alan Cap.
Okay. When did you threaten Alan Cap?
I never threatened Alan Cap.
You never threatened him?
They're saying I threatened him, but then I didn't.
But you're going to admit to it in court that you did it? Just,
Yeah.
I mean, why are you doing that? Are you saying Alan's lying?
Yeah.
I mean, why would he lie about that?
I don't know.
Because I'm not sure what the agreement between the prosecutors and your attorney and the judge, but I think if you go in the court, tell the judge that I didn't do that, I don't know if he's going to let you plead to it.
You probably won't.
And I'm not trying to talk to you. If you say you didn't do it, that's, I mean, it was my understanding that you're going in at 2 o'clock to plea, and
Yeah.
part of the arrangement is you're going to come in here and be truthful with us.
I'm being truthful.
Okay. I'm saying now you're going to go in front of the judge and he's going to ask you about this, and you're going to say, well, I didn't do it, but I want to plead to it. I don't know if he's going to accept it. Just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. And my whole point of asking you this is Alan says the threat occurred when you guys talked on the phone, and you told him about Vera, and that's when you said, if you tell anybody, I'll kill you.
I never said that though.
You didn't say any of that.
No. He called me, said that he had some weed, and said he was coming over to smoke.
Okay. Back up. How did you guys hook up with Alan at all in the beginning anyway?
We met at school.
I mean, that day. Do you remember where you guys met?
Donnell School.
Down at Donnell?
Yeah. We we rode our bikes to, me and Garth rode our bikes to pick him up.
So you and Garth rode to Donnell School and he was on foot?
Yeah,
And then what happened?
I rode him back on pegs.
Okay, so you rode him back where, to your place?
Yeah,
Do you know what time of the day this was roughly?
it was about 1, 2 o'clock.
Okay, in the afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you guys, what'd you do when you got back to your place?
Went to my room and started smoking the weed.
Okay, just who? You?
Me, Garth, and Alan Cap.
Okay, then what happened?
Well, we just sat down playing video games.
Okay. How long, in your room?
Yeah,
How long did you play video games?
a couple hours.
What time okay, then what happened?
Well, then let's see, I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time.
I understand.
After we played video games, we went down, ate some food, and then we went to our aunt's for a little bit.
Who, did Alan go with you?
No, just me and Garth went to my aunt's.
So where'd Alan go?
He stayed with my brother Chucky
Okay.
at the house. And I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time.
I understand.
have to remember.
That's fine.
I'm trying to remember. I think we went back home and seen Danny and Nicole at the house, and then found out they were beating on her. And
Okay, you said earlier that you saw that. Is that when you saw them beating on her?
Yeah,
Okay, what was exactly did you see?
Nicole and Danny beating on my baby's mom.
Okay, explain that to me. When
They were hitting on her, kicking her.
with their fists,
Yeah,
both of them?
yeah,
Okay, and this was inside your house?
yeah.
Where did this take place inside the house?
In the living room.
Okay. Was there anybody else around when that was happening?
No. My mom was, but she was in bed.
Okay.
Anybody else hitting her
No. Well,
specifically?
Shannon was.
Okay. Did you get a couple hits in too?
No, I never hit her.
You never hit her?
No. I don't believe in hitting females.
So they were hitting and kicking her?
Yeah.
How many times you think, roughly?
Don't know.
Yeah. Was this after Shannon come back from the hospital?
Yeah,
So would this be later in the evening?
yeah.
Okay, now hold on, let me back you up here, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, so. How did Shannon go to the hospital?
My brother Michael took her.
And who all went?
Just them two.
You didn't go with them?
No.
Okay, because they said that you helped carry Shannon to the car and then went to the hospital. That's not?
No.
You don't remember going to the hospital?
No.
So then,
Did your dad go with them to the hospital?
No. Just Michael and Shannon went to the hospital.
okay, because both Garth, Michael, Shannon, they all said that you went and helped,
I never went to the hospital with them.
okay. Because while you were at the hospital, that's when your dad called and said that you guys need to come back and eat supper. So Michael drove you guys back and dropped you off, and then he went back out to the hospital to get her. That's what they told us. You don't remember any of that?
No, I never went to the hospital.
But you was there when they left to the hospital?
Yeah, I seen them go to the hospital.
Okay. Let me stay around that same time. You didn't see any spray, any mace, nothing like
We
that?
never had mace or anything.
Okay, so no, you don't know anything about a spray?
No.
So Shannon comes back from the hospital and that's when her and Vera get into it?
Yep. She said you killed my baby and everything that was inside me.
Okay.
And she started laying off and hitting her.
Okay, how was she hitting her?
She started hitting her with her fist and everything, and then she got a belt over the padlock and started hitting her in the back with it.
Shannon did?
Yeah.
Was anybody, you were there? Who else was there when that was going on?
Me, Michael, Shannon, Garth, Chucky, Alan Cap, Danny.
So Alan was still there when that happened?
Everybody was, except for my dad, because he was grocery shopping.
So everybody saw all that? Was Shannon hitting on Vera?
Except for my mom,
Except for your mom?
because she takes the meds and go to sleep.
Okay. And how long do you think Shannon hit on her with her fist and with the belt and the lock?
About 20 minutes.
Okay. Anybody try to help her?
Well, I got in a fight with my cousin because
Who's your cousin?
Danny. I got in a fight with him, but he said that if I said anything, he was gonna kill me.
Okay.
So I got in a fight with him and told him to leave her alone.
And then you said why Shannon was it? Did Nicole and Danny jump in too? Is that what you're?
Huh?
You said earlier that Nicole and Danny were hitting,
Yeah.
and then was that after Shannon or at the same time?
Well, after Shannon did it, and then Nicole and Danny jumped in.
What all were they doing?
They were still beating on her, making her drink piss, and
Where did the piss come from?
then
Did they pee in? What they pee in? Or
a cup,
okay, do you know who did that?
both of
Both of them peed in the same cup or different cups?
them, different cups.
And they made her drink. What else did they make her do?
They made her eat dog shit, cigarette butts. They made her drink soap.
That's something everybody was participating in though, right?
No, just Shannon and Danny and Nicole.
At no time did you hit her or
I never
anything
hit
at that
her.
point.
I don't believe in hitting females.
You're giving me a big tell, bud. We talk about truth. Every time you specifically, you're closing your eyes.
I'm telling you
Okay.
the truth.
Not on everything. All right? I'm going to tell you that up front. You're closing your eyes when you answer. All right? And we talked about that at the beginning to be truthful about all of this, okay? We know you were hitting her.
I was not hitting her.
You have. You did.
No, I didn't.
We know that. All right? But we got to get past that to get all the truth.
I never hit my baby's mom. Never once.
Why would everybody say that? I mean, these are people that aren't even in your family saying they've seen you hit her.
I don't know. I never hit my baby's mom once. I swear.
So what happened after all that?
I went to go get drunk because I didn't want to know anything. Didn't want to know anything about it. Because he said he was going to kill me if I said anything. So I went to go get drunk. So I forgot that. So
And that's where you, Garth, and Alan went over to Destus?
yeah.
Alan didn't leave earlier in the evening?
No.
So you're saying when you talked to him on the phone, that was early when you met before at 1 o'clock at Donnell?
Yeah.
See, the phone records don't even go with that. I mean, we got the records that he called, you called him later on in the evening.
I didn't call him. He called me.
I talked to him.
Yeah, if you would give us 1 minute before, so you know we're recording, so we gotta shut it off.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, just so you know, so you got some privacy.
Hold on, Jim.
Okay. Okay, you heard what I was saying out there, okay? I'm gonna try and go from 4 o'clock in the afternoon at your mom's house, just to where we go from there.
Go ahead.
Okay, about 4 o'clock, me, Garth, and Alan Cap was smoking weed. And about 5 o'clock, I realized Danny, Nicole, Shannon was beating on my baby's mama.
You said 5 o'clock?
Yeah. And then about 5:15, me and Danny got in a fight. I told Danny to leave my baby's mama alone. He said no. Then he said if I said anything, he was gonna kill me. And about 9 o'clock, I left and got drunk.
Oh, what time?
About 9 o'clock, I went to go get drunk at Desk Mixers.
Who all went?
Me, Garth, and Alan Cap. And then about 12, Danny and Nicole showed up.
How sure are you on these times?
Huh?
How sure are you at the 4 o'clock time?
Pretty sure. I'm I'm telling you the truth about the times.
And you don't remember going to the hospital?
I never went to the hospital.
But you're saying that Danny and Nicole and Shannon were beating on Vera?
Yeah.
That was after she came back from the hospital?
Yeah.
And you said when they were over Destus? That's when you heard them?
Yeah.
And what'd they say?
They said the job was done, that she was dead. They didn't go into no details or nothing.
And you're saying you and Alan never split up? Once you picked him up there at Dono, you guys were together the whole rest of the day?
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't over at Manny's? You know who Manny is?
No. I don't know who that is.
What about when they went to get beer? Did you go with them?
No, I stayed at Destus.
Okay. Who all stayed there?
Just Desta went and got the beer. Everybody else stayed at the house.
Just Desta got the beer?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
You said earlier that you said you and Alan never split up, but yet earlier you said that Alan stayed with your brother Chucky while you and Garth went somewhere.
Yeah. Me and Alan split up with me that one time when he was with Chucky. That was the only time. Because me and Garth went to my aunt's for a little bit. That was the only time Alan split up with us. Because he stayed at my house.
Hey, I don't know if you're confused or what, but like even going to get the beer, that's not what everybody said. Desta didn't go get the beer. She stayed back at her
No,
place.
she went to go get the beer.
I got a video. She didn't go get the beer. Alan, Garth, her friend, and who was the fourth one? Danny went to get the beer. And you and Nicole and Desta stayed back at her place.
I don't remember really anything that much because I was drunk and high all day.
You were drinking all day or just drinking after they got the beer?
Just after they drank the beer, I was
I
smoking.
mean, you haven't even started drinking beer yet at this point. As I'm saying, you can't remember who we went and got it. So I just don't know.
I was smoking all day until I was drinking. So I can really not remember anything.
I mean, I don't.
Your call, guys.
I mean, I just don't see any sense. I mean, I'm not saying he's lying. I don't know. It's not matching up with all the other statements about who went to the hospital. I mean, and like I told you out there, if the little stuff doesn't match up, there's nothing criminal about going to the hospital with your
I
sister-in-law.
understand that, and I explained that to him.
We gotta get him back shortly too.
I know.
So.
He was talking about wanting to take a polygraph about what he was telling you. I explained to him it's not TV where they wire you up, ask you some questions, and let you go. I don't think the judge is going to go along with that. The prosecutor would want some type of, if he passes, cool. If he doesn't pass, we're going to use it against him in court. But we would not ever stipulate to that stuff. I just can't do it. So anyway.
If you want, we can give you a few more minutes with you. If you guys need to tidy anything up or
No, I thought he was relating things to me in time frames, and you know, I'm a visual learner. I have to see pictures. I can't read and get it,
Right.
and other people get it different ways. So I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say? Otherwise, we might as well wrap this up.
No.
Okay. Let's go see what the judge says.
Yeah. I don't know how soon they'll get him over there. That's kind of out of our hands.
Well, I'm going to take up a bunch of time with Alex right
Okay.
now as to what, you know,
What's going on?
what I need to do, what he wants me to do.
Okay.
A little bit in conflict.
Okay.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you.
Yep. Just hang tight real quick, Zach.
Behave yourself with these guys. Do not try and escape. Do not try and beat them up.
How am I supposed to escape when I have shackled on?
Oh, I don't know, buddy.
I can't run the shackles. I'll trip.
I'll tell you what, if it was me down there, I'd try and crawl away.
It's been tried before.